Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Now today's first story comes from a deleted user. The post was titled, "Fiancee mocked my hair loss to all of her friends. I currently feel ill and lost and unsure what to do. If I should just leave or continue my 3-year relationship with my fiancé. I'm not sure how much of a difference and what more information you need, but I'll give some background anyway. I'm 28 male and I've been with my fiancé 27 female Claire for the past 3 years. We met at the local gym whilst running on the treadmills and just started chatting and eventually texting and then dating. Claire is a popular character at the gym and has lots of girlfriends who she hangs with, and they often come round our house. I'm a bit more introverted, so I tend to make myself scarce when they're about and can enjoy their time together. I always say hello, but take it as an opportunity to do my own thing. Again, I want to reiterate that I have no issues with them, and as far as I know, they have no issues with me. We've been living together since the start of this year, paying equal rent, equal chores, and none of the imbalance I've seen in a few of these stories. Basically, I'm trying to say I feel our life is pretty balanced, if that's the right word. My issue. Now, since around age 26, I've noticed my hair has started to recede and my fiancé knows about my insecurity. And I feel embarrassed to admit it that I've been purchasing various products I've seen reviewed on YouTube and other places to try and counter it, so my fiancé has seen the products. She always seems supportive of me and has even suggested products she's seen on social media. However, nothing has worked as yet. I am aware I can get hair implants, but they're a bit out of my range currently. All this said, it's affecting me mentally. None of my brothers or dad had this issue, and therefore I'm getting a bit of a ribbing at home too. Brothers calling it out, although they have seemed to have tamed that down as I went quiet the last time they did it. Now, the big issue. Today was a normal day. In the morning, my fiancé told me a couple of her girlfriends were coming over for some lunch and a bit of a chit chat, so I decided I would plan for a little day of gaming, and I got to admit I was pretty excited for it. Time is pretty limited these days, so I went out to get some snacks for myself, and whilst out, I bought some nibbles for my fiancé and friends, a bottle of wine, and headed home, again, pretty excited. I walked past the living room door, popped my head in and waved hello to them all. They seemed pretty happy and laughing away, and I headed to the kitchen to prepare their snacks and drinks before I got to gaming. Whilst preparing, I heard my name mentioned, and I know this doesn't sound right, but I snuck down the hallway and listened outside the door and heard them talking about the hair loss products. I kept listening, and whilst I was upset that she revealed my insecurity to her friends, in some way I was happy she was taking an interest and thought she was worried for me. Then I heard my fiancé say, if it goes back anymore, he'll look like this. And in that moment, I peeked through the crack in the door and saw her pulling her forehead back. They all laughed and I felt like absolute shit. I walked back to the kitchen and finished preparing the snacks, thinking, should I walk out? Should I confront them? But I felt numb in that moment and took the snacks and drinks in on a tray. Walked into the living room and they just all went silent. I could see they was trying to compute if I'd heard what they were talking about, but fiancé then turns around and says, "Oh, you didn't have to do that. Thanks so much." To which the other two then said thanks. I then made eye contact with my hair product on the table, looked at my wife and walked out the room. I just sat in the back room staring at my PC, not thinking straight. Had so many questions going through my head. Has she always thought about me this way? Do her friends dislike me? Surely she knows my insecurities, so why would she do this? Am I being way oversensitive about this? I just sat floating about in that room for hours, but the silence in the house didn't last long, as I could still hear them laughing away to themselves. Eventually, my fiancé popped her head around the door and said, "You okay, hun?" I'm not exactly sure what I said, but I remember her just smiling and walking away. Around 6 p.m. that evening, I heard the door opening and shutting out the front, and I walked out to see her friends had gone. My bottle of product was gone from the table and Fiancee was asking me what I would like for dinner. And it kind of just returned to normal for a moment. We ate dinner and she was telling me stories of her friends. I interrupted her at one point and asked her about my product that was on the table, and she played it down saying that one of her friend's partners has the same issue and was showing some products that I've used and it's not a big deal. I must have looked uncomfortable because she kept reassuring me that not to worry and it's a common problem, etc. She went to do her own thing and I continued to sit there trying to process what had happened and if I'm again being oversensitive about this. I can't get that image of her mocking me out of my head. Any advice on how to proceed would be amazing. Now for me, I can partly understand bringing the product out, showing your friend if they did have the same issue, and saying this is what my husband done, etc, etc. Don't get me wrong, I still don't think that's right. I still don't think revealing your insecurity like that in front of everyone, saying products that you bought, etc. I don't think that's correct. I don't think it's the right way to go about things, absolutely. But I could see it happening, maybe a mistake, whatever. But to me, I feel like she played down your feelings in this. We ain't getting to the big part yet, but I feel like she's played down your feelings. She told you it's not a big deal. When she knew about your insecurities and you said you must have looked uncomfortable because she kept reassuring me, then she says, don't worry, it's a common problem. But that's not the point. She shouldn't be revealing what you are only comfortable about talking to her about, your insecurities like that. Most of us have our own little insecurities, and what if you was to talk to your friends about hers? How would she feel about that? But the big one for me, when you said you peeked your head round the corner and she was mocking you, I'm not sure how I would come back from that. I'm really upset for you to know that you had to see that. Someone that you love, your fiancé, who you spent time with for 3 years, who you trust, seeing her having a laugh at your expense like that. It's like a lot of things I always ask in these relationship stories. How'd you come back from that? Can you trust this person again, knowing that she will mock you behind your back like that? Maybe this is totally a me issue, but I don't think I would be able to move past that, but we'll see in a minute. We're going to cover some comments, then we're going to go on to OP's update. So the comment says, I have a similar issue as you, OP, and I think if my partner openly did this and I saw it, I wouldn't be able to turn the other cheek. I would need to understand what was going through her head in that moment. It's certainly not on. Can you see yourself moving past that image without having a conversation with her? OP replied saying, honestly, no, I can't. I know I have to speak to her about it, but every time I go to say something, I just feel numb and unsure what to do. The next comment says, I would never treat my partner this way. She has no respect for what you are going through, how it's affecting you mentally. You've told her all this and she's joking around like it's absolutely nothing. Disgusting. OP replied saying, I was thinking along the same lines. If I was to pick on one of her insecurities, to which she also has a few, how would she feel? I would never do this, obviously, but the more I think about it and the more I read these replies, I feel I have to say something. Another commenter asks, my question is this something you would end the relationship over? Do you ever think you can move past this if she has shown you she was remorseful about what she did? Would a couples therapy session help you get back on the right track so you can be in a place to truly express how you are feeling? OP replies, currently, I'm struggling with exactly that. Can I just forget about what she did in front of her friends? I'm not really sure at this moment in time. It may seem like a small thing to some people, and I feel small complaining about it, but to me, it's huge. Since I noticed it, it's constantly on my mind and obviously a daily reminder when I look in the mirror. The next comment says, this is a deal breaker for me. I wouldn't be able to look at her the same again. She humiliated you, joked about you with her friends and thinks that's acceptable. Who the hell does she think she is? The first part where she was showing her friends the products as their husbands may have the same issue. I thought fair enough, but then to pull her forehead back to mock you? I'd be furious. I am furious for you. OP says, thanks for your concern, and like I've said to others, I feel the same way. I'm unsure I can look at her the same way again. Between answering these comments, she keeps coming in asking how I'm doing and talking about plans to go out. I can't think of anything but what she did, and yet I still feel like I'm overreacting. Then OP added an edit to the post which says, thanks again for all letting me know I'm not overreacting to this situation. and telling me my feelings are valid. I still can't help but feel I'm going too far here, but I'm going to confront this. Otherwise, I just won't be able to move past it. I use some of your advice when approaching her and will write down my feelings so I don't ramble too much. So then OP went on to update the post, which says, so last time I posted was 7 days ago about my fiancée mocking my receding hairline to her friends while she thought I was out of earshot. I was super reluctant to approach her about this out of fear of feeling or being told that I was overreacting. The comments encouraged me to approach her with this, and I feel they were right, otherwise I won't be able to move on. Also, just to say the dialogue isn't verbatim, I was in a haze. Anyway, the day after all this happened, I was in the kitchen making a sandwich while my fiancée was watching TV. I yelled to her if we could have a chat in a moment, to which she replied, "Uh-oh, this sounds serious," but in a joking kind of way. I went and sat with her in the living room and she looked at me and said, "Is this about yesterday?" At which point told me she knew she had upset me, but I was curious if she knew I actually saw the whole thing or not, so I said, "What do you mean?" And then she suddenly backtracked and said, "Oh, nothing. What do you want to talk about?" I said yes, it was about yesterday and you talking to your friends about my receding hair when you know how I feel about it. And she countered with, "I explained this yesterday and didn't think you would mind. I thought you'd want to help someone in a similar situation, as her friend's husband is in the same situation, so I showed them your product." I then felt like she was turning it all on me, and my fear was coming true that I was overreacting. I still couldn't bring myself to tell her exactly what I saw. She kept saying, "It's okay, lots of people have the same issue. I know how you feel about it and I wouldn't do this to humiliate you." Whilst in my head, the image of her pulling her forehead back was playing over and over. I could feel myself heating up yet doing nothing about it. I know. Doormat. The conversation fizzled out with her repeatedly reassuring me that it was all fine and it was a good thing that the product was shared with others to help them out too. And it will help to break the stigma of male hair loss and give a new talking point at the gym with friends. Yes, the guy that apparently is being shown this product is also a gym goer. I know him slightly, but I wouldn't exactly call him a friend and not someone I would go and talk about my deepest insecurities with. If I'm being honest here, I feel like she had rehearsed this. I snapped, "Are you fucking kidding me? I have trouble talking about this at home. Why the hell would I go to a public gym and start telling everyone about this?" To which she replied, "Calm down. You're looking at this completely the wrong way. This isn't a big issue as you're making it out to be." I said, "What do you mean this isn't a problem? You know how I feel. Do you not care for my feelings? I don't want this shared with everyone, and stop telling me I'm making an issue out of this. You shouldn't be sharing my personal insecurities with anyone. What if I were to share your insecurities with my friends? Would you find that acceptable? Would you think that is okay?" She stared at me like I've never seen her before, got up and walked out of the house. I remember feeling, is this it? Are we over? Obviously, I know it was too soon to think of any of that, but it went through my head. Now introducing friend Jay. I received a social media message from a friend Jay, which just said, "Really? How insecure can you be?" To which I said, "This is our business, please stay out." I then received paragraph after paragraph, basically parroting what my fiancée had already told me before. It's not a big deal, she's using information to help her husband, and why can't I see that? And those words again, "You're overreacting." So now my information was with her friends, her husband, and likely the gym I went to at this point. Unsure where we were heading, I texted her that was she returning this evening, and I received, "When I'm ready." 10 PM, she comes in the house. I'm not actually sure what I did in those hours in between, but they seemed to fly by. She looked angry and just said, "Hopefully you've seen sense," and by this point I'd simply had enough. I said I hadn't finished talking earlier when you just walked out and you still don't seem to understand the pain you've caused me or don't even seem to care. You've told friends about it, a random husband, and whilst I would love to help anyone with my issue, I currently can't help myself, so you spreading this around and telling me I'm not doing a good thing isn't fucking helpful. She went to interrupt me, and I remember this as I was a little proud of myself. I said, "Stop. You've told me I'm overreacting or making a big issue. Time and time again, and it's just not on. I'm not overreacting. These are my feelings. She still replied, how can you still not see that you were going too far here? I said, how about when you mocked me to your friends, pulling your forehead back? Was that going too far? Am I overreacting to this too? Her face changed pretty quickly and said that she regretted that right after she had done it and it was just a mistake. She sat down and we actually had a conversation about how it felt. I know we had done this before, but it felt like she was actually taking it on board. Maybe she had no other choice if she didn't want this relationship to end. She talked about some of her insecurities and yes, that she was wrong and had trouble admitting it, so turned to her friends when she left to see if she was in the wrong or not, and when they backed her up, she felt validated. She says she feels she understands where I'm coming from and promises to be more considerate in the future and even cut out that friend who backed her up. I finished our conversation with, I really appreciate you sitting and expressing your feelings and how you felt, but honestly, I can't move past what you've done, and it's over. She teared up and ended up with the friend she would cut out. After that, I only saw her to collect her things. We didn't say much to each other apart from what was hers or mine. No extra drama there, thank goodness. There was one last positive I should add to this, I think, and that's her friend. Jay actually apologized. Apparently, ex-fiancé spoke to Jay and she had some see the light moment and just messaged me saying, I'm sorry for the past messages, it wasn't my place to do that. I've been talking to ex-fiancé and you were right, it wasn't my business. That was it. The last time I spoke to either of them. I stopped attending that gym and other places she went, simply because I'm done with the drama for the time being. So the OP added an update which was like a year later, which went on to say, so I had some people messaging me asking how I'm doing now and thought I'd give an update. There is no drama here, I'm afraid. Around 6 months after that happened, I managed to move town. My work is pretty flexible and I'm able to work from home, so that was all good as well. I had not heard from my ex since this all happened. I strangely had one message from Jay's husband asking if everything is okay. As I said, I don't really know the guy, so wasn't sure what that was about, so just totally ignored it. I felt kind of bad because what if he was just reaching out about the issue we both share, but I selfishly thought, I can't be dealing with anything else at the moment and just want to carry on with my own life. You'll have to let me know if you think that was a poor decision. Girlfriend? No chance. I've been on a couple of dates for sure, but I'm happy with my own company at the moment. It's nice. Get up, do what I want and when I want. I did join the local gym as I find it's really good for my mental health mainly, and it counters all the pizza I eat. Kind of. The hairline, well, that's an ongoing battle. Whilst I have to say, I haven't been so worried about it over the last few months. There are times where it bothers me, so I've kind of been saving towards implants if I choose to do it. And if not, well, I have some savings for the future. Or maybe take a well-deserved holiday. Thank you once again for your time reading and your thoughtfulness towards my situation. Holy moly, that update was a bit of a roller coaster in some ways. That you finally confronted her with what you saw. And she didn't like that you questioned saying, what if you was to share her insecurities with your own friends? Would you find that acceptable? And then she just walked out. Obviously couldn't counter that, so went and got the friends involved and started getting them to message you, like you said, parroting what she had been previously saying. And of course telling you that you're overreacting. And when you finally outed the truth about, how about when you mocked me to your friends by pulling your forehead back? Are you going too far? Am I overreacting to this too? Then her face changed and, then she comes out with her sorries about how she regretted it. She probably would regret it. I mean, who would do that to their partner? But is it forgivable is the question. And the conversation after where she backed down and you were both sharing your insecurities and stuff like that may have been a genuine conversation. I mean, she might have been just trying to get back onto your side. Who knows? But I think you decided in your own head that you're not going to ever be able to move past this and it has to be over. And that was just it, really. I'm sorry it come to the point, though, which kind of peed me off a little bit, is that you feel like you had to move away. Maybe it was for yourself, which I would totally understand. I just hope you wasn't forced out because of what happened and people making you feel this way, because that's just not on either. But it sounds like you're in a good place at the moment. enjoying your own company. And I love to see it when people say that sort of stuff, I'm just happy with my own company. I always think that's such a wonderful statement. But now I'm going to turn it to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? What if you was in OP's shoes? How would you have dealt with it? Maybe you have a completely different opinion on the matter. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below if you have a moment of your time. And just a huge thank you for sharing your time with me today, getting involved in the story, your love, support and time, not just towards me, but towards the poster as well, and towards each other down in the comments is amazing. Thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today